Okay, yeah.
Good, great. We all come from different places. We all come from different backgrounds. I know some of you, don't know a number of you. But I do know this, and that is at some point in your life, you have come face to face with mystery. You've come face to face with mystery. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about the kind of mystery that you'd read in a novel, like a Sherlock Holmes story or a whodunit. That's not the kind of mystery that I mean. I mean that at some point in your life, you've come face to face with the realization that reality as you see it, reality as you experience it, isn't the entire story. That there's something more than what you're seeing or hearing or feeling. That there's a kind of hidden architecture that lurks behind reality. Something like a logic that's working behind the scenes. This we call mystery. Catholicism is a religion of mystery, and so you're going to hear this term used in different ways. They're all the same, all means basically the same thing, but we're going to use different variations on that theme. So do get used to it. You will hear a lot about the word mystery. But the mystery that I'm talking about is manifested in your life in different ways. We've heard a little bit about what brought you all here. You'll hear over the next period up until Easter, you'll hear what brought individually the team members here. And I don't mean here to RCIA, but here to the Catholic Church. We have a number of converts here, people who've actually gone through this program and are now a part of the team. But you may have experienced mystery in a way similar to what some of us have experienced. Maybe you are a busy working person and you feel like you have to find peace during the day, and so you go into a local Catholic church, and when you went in for the first time and you sat down in the pew, you felt like there was this peace there that you hadn't felt anywhere else. It was so strong that it was almost a presence. You may have felt that. That's mystery. Or possibly you have felt the kind of yearning in your life where there's something unsettled. You have all of the things that are supposed to make us happy. We have family, we have a good job, we live in a great city. But we're lacking that one thing. We've got that restlessness in our heart. Well, that may have brought you. Or maybe you've just run into a series of very unlikely coincidences. People who have told you about Catholicism, or maybe you had this saint card when you were a kid, maybe your grandmother had it and you never paid much attention to it. But throughout your life, you kept seeing this saint card over and over and over again in a way that is beyond mere coincidence. If any of these things sound familiar to you, know that you are not alone, because these are all things that we have heard in previous classes over the last several years. In fact, some of these things we have experienced ourselves. These things are not coincidences. These things are not chance happenings. You are not wrong to assign some kind of meaning to them. These things are clues that there is an architecture that works behind the scenes. There is this something, this machinery. It's like in our life, we have moments where the curtains separate and we can see these gears kind of working behind the scenes. These are big moments for us. These are the kinds of experiences and revelations that we remember. So I imagine that each of you have these kinds of things that you can kind of recall. It's a little bit like when you come face to face with a mystery. It's almost like you're given an incredibly powerful hearing aid, and you click it on for the first time, and you hear this music playing in the background, and you realize that that music has been playing all along. And at different points of your life, you may have caught little glimpses of it here and there. But now, with this hearing aid, or with this new realization, or this new revelation, you see this music playing constantly, this kind of logic. Now, this mystery, this is not unique to Catholicism. We are not the first people to recognize this thing, as much as I'd like to say we are. In fact, religion in general is humanity's response to their own encounter with this mystery, the sense that reality isn't the whole story, that there's something more to the scenes. some religions look at this experience that, gosh, there's got to be more to it, and they assume that reality then must be an illusion. Hinduism, for example. Catholicism disagrees. We don't believe that life is an illusion. We don't believe that this is some kind of a deception. This is a podium. We are in a room. We are present to one another here. For us, it's more like being a character in a novel. A character in a novel, there's a narrative, there's a story that makes sense to the characters, right? It's a real story. It's not an illusion or a deception, assuming it's not that kind of novel. But it makes sense and the characters are following the story. But in a good novel, that's not all there is to it, because there are symbols, there's foreshadowing, there are hints about what's to come. And there's a general architecture behind the characters themselves, something that the characters themselves aren't necessarily aware of, that tells the whole story. That's how a Catholic views reality. So it's not an illusion, but it's not the whole story either. Now, in the Catholic mind, or for the Catholic, we can explore this mystery, we can explore this world effectively in three ways. We can use our senses, what we see, we touch, what we taste. This is the road of science. And science is very important in Catholicism. Despite the myths, as we'll cover in this period, the Catholic Church is not opposed to science and has not in any way been historically the enemy of science. In fact, it has been the patron of science, as we'll talk about. So science is very important to Catholicism. So we know reality through our senses. We also know reality through our reason, our minds, logic. That's why philosophy is so central to Catholicism. If you have gone to a Catholic school, as I know that some of you have, you know that you will get a strong dose of philosophy. I mean, philosophy, Western philosophy, really, in the last 2,000 years, has been the history of Catholic philosophy, excepting the modern period and the contemporary period. So Catholicism believes that we can also know about the world through our reason, through our mind. And then finally, we can know about this mystery, we can know about reality through our own spiritual experience, our experiences of God, through prayer, through some kind of a personal relationship that we have with God. And in fact, when we put all of these things together, when we put our sensory experience, when we put the fruit of our logic, the conclusions of our mind, philosophy, and when we wed all those things to this spiritual sense, we realize that this mystery, this architecture, this hidden something behind the scenes is God. That's God. Now, in Catholicism, God is a number of things. God is a creator of everything that exists. But God isn't just the creator. God isn't the old man with the white beard who you see in beautiful Renaissance European mosaics. That's great, nice image, beautiful artwork. But that's not what a Catholic means when we talk about God. God is not just a creator. God is not an old man. But God is an ordering principle who works behind the scenes, but also a personal being. God is not like math. God is not like the laws of physics. God is both the creator of the universe, the one who keeps the universe in existence, but also a kind of personal being who we can come to know, which is quite extraordinary. It's nice to know people in major roles in big places. It's always nice to know the boss. And in Christianity in general and in Catholicism, in this instance in particular, I mean, we can know the creator of the universe in a very intimate way, because the creator of the universe knows us in an intimate way. So God is the creator. But God is also, in the Catholic mind, truth. God is truth. In fact, we don't tease the truth from the Apostle John, that God is truth. And so, insofar as we seek truth, real truth, we are actually seeking God. Now, this is something that separates Catholicism from other religions. It's something that makes the way that we have understood God over the centuries something that's quite distinct. Because we believe that truth is truth, no matter where we find it, assuming again that it is actually truth, then we will take what is true from here, leave behind the rest, and take what is true from over here, leave behind the rest. And that's how we have come to understand God. Catholic, the term Catholic comes from the Greek word, which means universal. And in this way, we have taken, for example, the laws and the organizational structure of our church from old Roman laws. We have taken philosophy and logic from the ancient Greeks, pagans. We have taken our mathematical system from the Hindus. It actually came through the Muslims during the, what was one of the happy fruits of the Muslim conquest, not one of the few happy fruits, but it at least came to us through there. So we took the mathematics from there. We take a lot of our religion from Judaism, of course. And we have taken even some of the way that we represent saints from some of the pantheons of the gods from the Romans and then actually the Greeks before them. We have taken aspects of those things, we have Christianized them, and we have left behind the things that are not Christian. We have, in a sense, baptized these different things. Why? Because they express in some way some part of this truth. And so, for a Catholic, you're never afraid to look after or to seek after what is truth. There's never a point when you're a Catholic where you need to turn your brain off, where you have to say, I don't want to push that too far because I may run into something I don't want to find. If you are seeking truth, honestly, with a pure heart, you are seeking God. And so that's why Catholicism has so supported over the years science and philosophy, the university system with which the Catholic Church created. All of these different things. The life of the mind, the intellectual life, is very important to a Catholic. And it's because of the way that we approach truth. Now, in this process, especially in the first several talks that we're going to give over the next few weeks, I'm going to contrast Catholicism with other world religions and also, to some degree, a lesser degree, in the opening weeks, Protestantism. I am not slamming other religions, I'm not slamming Protestantism, but it's important to compare and contrast. Obviously, I'm Catholic because I believe that the unique claims that the Catholic Church makes are true. Otherwise, I wouldn't be Catholic, I would be something else. So I'm going to present them in a way that, I have found convincing and persuasive, because I think, again, that they're true. But I don't want you to think that I am intentionally insulting other religions or anything like that. I'm actually not. As I wanted to point out at the very beginning, we have taken a lot of truth from other religions because they have found it themselves. And because truth is truth, we take what we can take and take advantage of that. Now, the thing with what we talked about, the thing about science and the thing about philosophy is that they can only take us so far in understanding God. We can know through logic that God exists. We can know to some degree through science that God exists. But we can't know about God. For that, God has to reveal himself to us. That's where we get the word revelation. Next week, we're going to talk more about revelation, so I will actually leave that at that, but I don't want to give the impression that somehow we can know all about God just through science and reason. You know, we're not deists, so it's a little bit more to it than that. But before I conclude, this opening talk is a little bit abbreviated because we did some of the other things, and I don't want to keep you all night. But before I conclude, there's one other thing that we notice when we examine this mystery. We've talked about this mystery, this architecture behind the scenes, this sense that there's more to reality than what we're seeing. And it is this: wherever you look, reality follows a certain pattern. Everything that exists has a pattern to it. And you'll find it everywhere. And the pattern is this: out of death comes life. You find this everywhere. You find this in the natural world with the seasons. Summer leads to fall. Plants start to die. Then winter comes. Things die. Spring comes. Out of this death comes life. And then summer, things are fully blooming. We see this in even in the cycle of the day. Night turns to day, or it's the night turns to day, and on and on. It isn't just in the natural world. We see this pattern also in our own minds, in our own hearts, in our own lives. If any of you have been or know someone who has had an addiction, you know that to get over that addiction, you have to die to yourself. That addict, the addicted part of you, has to die so that this new person can live. And in fact, it isn't just addiction. Anytime you make a major change in your life, maybe you follow a vocation, or you decide to get married, or you just decide to change something significant about your life, that person that old person that used to exist has to die so that this new person can exist. And so we see this pattern, death to life, oftentimes goes back to death to life, this cycle. You actually see this in just about every world religion, in mythology, the myth of the phoenix, this bird that burns itself and destroys itself and then rises from the ashes and then destroys itself, etc. You see this in Native American religion, where things follow the seasons, again, what I talked about, agricultural seasons, death to life, etc. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern that has been imprinted in reality because of an event that happened in the past that was so significant that it had an effect both backwards into history and forwards into time. It's the hinge event around which the wheel of time spins. Now, I like teasers, so I'm not going to tell you what that event is. I'll save that for next week. But that is something, again, to keep in mind. We're going to talk about this pattern as well over the course of this period. So that was it. Do you have any questions?